Hey, what's up guys? I just wanted to tell you all about an incredible opportunity from Dewalt right now for my Canadian friends. If you head over to toughinthenorthtour.ca, you'll see prize options and 3 different ways that you can enter their contest to win a massive prize of $10,000 worth of tools, or 20 secondary prizes that will be chosen for, which from my understanding, a whole prize pack of goodies from Dewalt. So head over there right now, toughinthenorthtour.ca, and enter. It's very simple. You can get multiple tries. I believe you can enter every day, so you'll want to go check it out.
Except for Cat, the shingle is done.
Let's just take a pause and let me give you a little context on this project here. So my father is building a workshop. Now this may not seem like a big deal to some of you, but this is a big deal to my dad. A little over a year ago, last April of 2020, I bought my first home, which was actually really my first home because it's the home I grew up in. My parents moved out of there. They inherited another house, and that's the house that I bought. I bought their current house. So now the house that I bought, that was my dad's for the last 30 years, had a beautiful, nice sized garage, but given that wood heat is the main source of heat here, that garage was always just a wood storage place. So my dad never did actually have a workshop, ever. The first thing I did was switch out from wood heat to forced air oil heat, and then I converted that rough and dirty garage area into my now beautiful workshop. So where Dad is living right now, he actually has some space, he has quite a bit of land, and he's finally taking the time and the money to build himself a proper workshop, which is what I've been showing little hints of. Some of you have asked questions about it and have been quite interested in the project. The reason I'm not filming and documenting and showing it all to you is because it's not my project. It's my dad's project. I'm up there occasionally when I have a bit of time to land, or if there's a project that he just can't handle by himself, then I'll go up for a few hours and help him out or whatever. But it's not my project. I've been kind of showing you guys along, keeping you updated on it, but it's Dad's project. But I'm really happy for him. I'm sure you guys are as well. Really excited. I know he's excited for that shop, and it should be weatherproofed before the winter comes here now. So right now we're gonna go back to the latest update, the current status of his shop, and then we'll head over and finish that shop tour of my own shop. And my dad is going to be incorporating quite a few of the ideas that I use for my shop into his own. So let's see what we can gather from there.
Film that for you guys. Really beautiful slab. The same guy that finished my slab did a lovely job. You can have some nice window views out there. And then he did vaulted trusses all the way back through to give a 10.5-foot ceiling height. These are all 8-foot walls. 10.5-foot ceiling height, except for over here above the work area. He's got standard trusses and he's got loft style trusses. So room for storage up there. Roughly 5.5 feet or something there. Now my compressor is mounted right here, which runs to an air manifold, which circulates throughout the shop, but it also runs to this little retractable hose reel. Again, that's right by my door. Why would you want a retractable hose reel other than being able to get outside with it? I don't need it for my shop. I have air all piped around. Having it here means I can get
you know, halfway down the driveway to pump up the tires on the truck or to air up a trailer or something without having to bring a vehicle all the way up here. So it helps to have the compressor here. Another reason for having the compressor in this corner of my shop, it's the opposite from the corner where I spend the most of my time working. So compressors are loud, noisy. It's as far away from me as possible while still being inside the shop. Moving just over from that compressor, which is right here, we have my little welding station. So this is a rack that I made up. I'll try to link the video if I can remember. But most of my stuff is on this rack. My extra wire and rods and different things down here. I'm running Blue Shield 8. That's what I have right now, which is a 75-25 argon and CO2 mix. This is the 140 MP, the multi-process. This was my most recent expensive tool purchase. This thing, I believe, was right around $12.50 plus tax, Canadian dollars. This is multi-process, so this will do flux core, MIG wire, it'll do stick welding, and it will also run TIG, and it'll run an aluminum spool gun as well. So this one welder was a great investment for me. Now, instead of buying a bunch of shop tables, I actually made them. It's actually pretty cheap to buy the steel. Steel's a little more pricey right now, but to buy like 1.5" square tubing and weld up the frame, I did that right away. I made a couple tables, and this has become my welding table, although I would love to have it decked over with a little bit of, say, 1/4" sheet steel. It's just not in the cards financially. It doesn't make sense right now. Most of my welding is smaller type stuff, so I've got a vise here set up for clamps. I've got lots of little clamps and magnets and stuff, and this works fine. This is just some thick plywood. This works fine for holding up to the heat in just a little small pieces. Now let's go over some of my different various tools here, because some people, I get the occasional comments about stuff being given to me or companies helping me out. That chainsaw, that's why I'm about to have this conversation, that chainsaw that I just showed was actually given to me by Dewalt, which is so exciting and so phenomenal. I can't believe I have the privilege to have opportunities like that. But I just want to talk to you a little bit, because people seem to think that my big Dewalt tool collection and some of the things I have are all handouts. This impact driver here was my first Dewalt purchase. I bought it as a kit because I didn't own any battery powered tools. This was probably 3 years ago. This was my first Dewalt tool right here, this impact driver, and I love it. And I bought the impact driver first because I already had a drill, like a $20 plug-in Mastercraft drill. So I said, I already got a drill, an impact would be nice. That would offer me something else added to my tool collection. I loved that impact driver so much that I bought a Bear Tool drill. This is their brushless one, which is really, really nice, but I could get it for cheap as a Bear Tool. This is the DCD 777. It's got quite a bit of use now, but I was able to buy it cheap as a Bear Tool because I already got a kit, 2 batteries, and a charger with my impact driver. I'm just going to switch over here real quick to the opposite side of the shop, even though we're not walking around in coherency, but we'll do that after. But I just want to keep this story going. This table saw was my next Dewalt purchase. I was splitting down a lot of cherry wood at the time for handle scales. I was doing a lot with cherry wood, and I was doing that with a handsaw, an actual, yeah, how ridiculous, one of those old-fashioned tools, a handsaw, right? I was ripping now. It was taking so long, my results were inconsistent, and I said, you know what? I think it would really be a profitable business investment to get a table saw. I thought about it. There were a lot of options on the market. This little DeWalt one seemed like a great option because it was portable. I didn't have a lot of room, so I couldn't keep it up on a big table. I didn't have that kind of room. So as you can see right now, it's working perfectly. I don't use a table saw every day. It's small enough I can tuck down under a bench or underneath something else. It has a lot of the features that I like and that I need for my work. And at the time, it's a really great business adventure or business investment, because it really sped up my productivity and the consistency of my knife making results. So that tool was really paying for itself and doing a great job at it. I was having a lot of mess in my shop, which wasn't my shop at the time. I was really getting tired of the little crappy plug-in shop vac that I had. So I said, you know what? I don't have to buy batteries. I can get the bare tool. This Dewalt vacuum would be perfect. It would offer me the options to connect dust collection to my table saw, so not as much mess. It would also help me to clean up around the shop, help me to clean up the vehicles, the house as well. We were in a little small apartment at the time. Seemed like a good investment, and I never regretted that one. Not once. I love, love, love this vacuum, and it's a couple years old now. I've got a couple years use on it. Back over to the tool wall. After that vacuum, it was approaching Christmas time. I scored this. It's a Dewalt circular saw, the 6.5-inch blade. So this is their smallest one. It's the DCF 391. And I actually scored it on a Black Friday deal. I bought two, one for me, one for my dad. And we absolutely love him. He was really impressed on Christmas morning when he opened up a Dewalt tool. Little did he know I got them for 80 bucks a piece. These were $80 each. They're not that expensive new, but they're a far cry from 80 bucks. But this was a great investment. I didn't own a circular saw. I'd never owned one, but I knew I could use one, and I never regretted this one once. Really nice tool. My Makita sander here. I had to buy an orbital sander. I thought it would be really useful. I was doing a lot of hand polishing of knives at the time, and it seemed like it would work well. I had a little vibrating sander there, you know, the square pads that wreck your hands. It was working okay, but I said, man, one of those random orbit ones would be awesome. So I looked around, found the best deal. I got this one on sale, this Makita, and I didn't like investing in cheap junk, so made sure I had the money there, and I bought this beautiful sander, and I've been really, really happy with it. The DWS 779 was my next Dewalt tool purchase, and this is quite a pricey saw, but this was right before I bought my house, and I had this house lined up to buy. Everything was we were about to move in, and I said, there's a lot of work I need to do. I don't own a miter saw, and you need to own a chop saw if you own a house and you do any work yourself. If you have a contractor coming in for everything, fine, maybe not. But this is a must-have tool, so I bit the bullet, and I bought the saw, and I bought it without the stand. I bought the saw, and I said, you know what, I'll make up a stand, or I'll find some way. So I bought the saw, and I said, if I'm going to spend the money, I might as well get as much saw as I can for my money so that I only have to buy it once. And I'll probably never buy a chop saw for another 10 or 15 years. It's not something I use often right now, but when I need it, I need it. Shortly after buying it, I found a really good sale on the stand, and I was like, man, it is worth it. For a saw this big and heavy, you want a good stand, and it's compact, so it fits a small shop. So I invested in the stand. This is all out of my own pocket, guys. This is just me. Over time, we're in about a 2-year span right now we're talking about. Back to the tool wall again, just keeping it in succession here. After moving in here, we were moved into this house for a while, I realized a reciprocating saw is almost a must-have if you're doing demo work. Not as beneficial in new building work, but in tearing out, being able to cut out individual studs and stuff, I just needed one. What brand will I go with? Well, I'm already invested in Dewalt batteries. I have lots of them by this point. It was the cheapest route was to get the bare tool or a plug-in. I wanted to get away from the plug-in stuff, so obviously, why would you not go with the 20-volt max? It fits perfect in my tool set. Perfect. Right around the same time I bought this one, I believe it was approaching last Christmas, so we had been here for a little while. I believe my wife got me this one. I asked for it for Christmas, and she bought me this beautiful little oscillating saw. I haven't regretted it. Incredibly valuable to a homeowner. This can get you out of so many binds. Going back to the torque wrench, I had wanted one for a long time. My dad knew that, so last Christmas he saw this one on sale and he went ahead and bought me the Dewalt 1/2-inch torque wrench. So that's why I have the Dewalt 1/2-inch torque wrench. He knew I liked Dewalt. There was a good sale on it. I ended up with a Dewalt torque wrench. Moving on, now we're going to get into maybe kind of the splurge purchases here. I bought this grinder probably 8 months ago because I really wanted a battery one. I have lots of angle grinders, but I'm always tied to a cord, and it's just not always convenient. I said, you know what? These are pretty cheap bare tools. Again, I have all the batteries, the chargers. I can get into one of these pretty cheap or a bare tool, and I think it would really make my life easier. And it has been such a good investment. I use this thing all the time. Then I splurged on the 899 impact driver. This is a fairly new purchase. I wanted an impact gun. I have a really cheap Mastercraft one, which is like a local hardware store brand one here, and I've never loved it. You're tied to the cord, and I really wanted one. So I went with the Dewalt. Obviously, I have the batteries. Awesome. Haven't regretted it. A little bit of a splurge. I don't use an impact gun real often, but it's nice to have when I do. Every one of those tools out of my own pocket, or like I said, except for the torque wrench there, that was a gift from my father, right out of my own pocket. Wise investments, in my opinion. Now, after investing in all of these tools, and to help pay for them, I've been putting out reviews, and some of them have done really good. There are a couple tools here that I reviewed. The videos have made a few $100, so they have more than paid for the tool. In the case of like the vacuum, I think we're in like 50,000 views on the vacuum video, and I've made double what the vacuum cost me. So I'm doing these reviews, and they do well to help pay for the tools I use for my business, my home, my family, etc. So my name is out there. I'm kind of connected to Dewalt. I'm tied in. Of course, it's nice marketing for Dewalt. So I'm talking with Dewalt somewhat recently. We're talking about something that I might need. And I said, you know what? A bandsaw, a battery-powered bandsaw would be really nice. Now, I have my Milwaukee back there, which is really awesome, but I hate being tied to the cord. Especially with fabricating work, you do a lot of moving around, and I don't like that cord. They were gracious enough to send me this, the deep cut, the 5-inch, and it is just amazing. Variable speed trigger. Way quieter, by the way, than the Milwaukee. This thing is awesome. Dewalt did send me this tool. So thankful for it. Ended up being able to produce a good video for you guys for it, and you're seeing it in lots of content still. Now, at the same time as I was asking for that bandsaw, I said that would be really useful. I've got a big flatbed build coming up. That would be really useful for the project because I'm out working on the truck out there sawing, so it would be nice to have a battery-powered one. I said I'm also doing some landscaping, getting into some farming, crop growth, etc. So I said, you know what, a battery-powered chainsaw would be really handy, and I think I could do a good job marking it. So they said, you know what, we'd love to send you the 60-volt saw. So just incredible. But those are the only two things that I've received from Dewalt. This is my hard-earned, very hard-earned money. These are my investments that I've chosen to spend my money on that make my everyday life so much easier. Okay, moving on, and I'll speed it up because I'm not into the philosophy of everything right now. We'll click right along. A laundry tub with water. When I built the shop, I didn't put in water. Soon after, realized, man, it's really annoying lugging bowls of water back and forth from in the house, having to take my shoes off all the time, not able to wash my hands up out here. So I went ahead and plumbed in some CPVC with a valve here over a sink. No plumbing here. It's just draining into a 5-gallon bucket. I don't want to run lines here. It would be very difficult the way my house is set up to tie this sink into a plumbing line, so we're just draining into a bucket. All of my electrical here, I did myself, with the exception of Cody showing me how to snip and tie in BX cable. I had no experience with that, but with the exception of that, I did every single piece of electrical here. Every receptacle, all the cable runs, all the lights, the welder plugs, everything here, I put in myself. Of course, that saves a lot of money. Getting an electrician to do what I had done here would have probably cost me, I don't know, $1,500, $2,000 to run all my lights. I've got double receptacles all over the place here, so would probably cost me a little bit of money, but it's turned out beautifully, and I was able to customize exactly to my needs. Gotta have the fire extinguisher, belt wall, pegboard with all the belts here. Back corner, we have an OBM grinder, a 2x72. My most expensive single investment. I mean, probably all in all here with the blower and everything, well, including attachments, I mean probably $4,000 or more right here. Because I have a 2 horsepower motor, 3-phase. I have the variable frequency drive. It's a 2x72. I've got the surface grinder attachment. I'm in a lot of money right here, but I'm able to do a lot of work quickly with very consistent and excellent results. So that is worth a lot of money. We're connected to a blower here, that pipe, which blows into a drum outside. See, it's right under my belt here. This belt spins down, so it casts everything right in there, and that just draws it in. Cuts the dust down big time. Flex light. I built this little room for the grinding just to help keeping the dust, and it does a marvelous job. Again, table I built myself, welded up myself. Some 3/4 inch plywood top here, and it works great for my drill press station. We've got the the bench grinder here, which I use a lot. So that table's right there. Right here we have a bench buffer, which I use quite often. Onto this one that I scored secondhand, I turned into my leatherworking bench because I can keep all my accessories, my rivets. I can hang all my little tools here, my glues and dies. We did pegboard back here, and I keep my everyday grab items back there. Of course, that's where you want. Since this is my bench, this is where I do pretty much all my work on my bench. You want your everyday items, your shop towels. You don't want to having to walk to get shop towels. Grab a towel. If you're doing that constantly, gloves are back there. My respirator. If you have to walk somewhere for your respirator and get it, or walk somewhere to get your safety glasses, if you have to do something quick, you're probably not going to grab it. If I had to cut one little piece of threaded rod there on the bandsaw, and I had to walk over across my shop to get my glasses, I'm probably just going to squint my way through it. If they're right there, why not? You're about to plug it in, slip on the glasses. It takes basically no time and ensures you're always wearing them. Another tip, keep a garbage bin right by your most used workstation, in my case my workbench. And lastly, so we can bring you up past the chop saw and everything there, we already talked about that. Come to this front corner, we have a couple shelves again, and the stuff I keep up here is what makes sense to be closest to the garage, or to the driveway, sorry. I like to categorize as much as I can to be as efficient as I can. And lastly, right here, now this is very knife maker specific. My propane forge I keep right here at the front of the shop, so it's the closest to get outside or whatever when I'm heat treating. I don't want to be lugging it around a lot. So that is my workshop. That is the bulk of my tool collection, except for the stuff I have in the shed and stuff, which is basically not much hand tools, crowbars, shovels, picks, axes, all types of stuff like that. I also have, of course, my hand tool collection and everything. But this is my everyday shop. This is the stuff that I use every single day, and I hope you like it. Let me know what you think of my choices. I think I've made some good ones.